Hi, and welcome to the presentation from the Certification Department for the grading methods for the demonstrated functionality in the CLD, the Certified LabVIEW Developers exam. My name is Mark Ramsdale. I'll be your host today. The application today will be the ATM sample exam. We will show how the demonstrated functionality of the application is evaluated against the requirements set forth in the specification document. This document is the specification requirements. I'm sure you're all very familiar with it, as you've been practicing on the 4 sample exams that are available at ni.com. This document begins with the front panel. It goes on to detail the general operation of the application. Some of the controls, the indicators are described, sequences of the operation, data structures, possible file content, etc. Think of this document as a contract between yourself and the client, or perhaps from your department. Your requirement is to show that this application is viable, that these actions can be performed, that you can demonstrate the functionality required of this document. Each of the CLD exams has a specification requirements document. In addition, each of the CLD exams also has a functional test matrix, which I'm showing here. This document is a tool used by the graders to evaluate the demonstrated functionality of the exam. There are many categories, such as initialization, card insertion, which is relative to this model. The categories will have subcategories that can be evaluated on a pass or fail basis, and points are awarded based on the number of these subcategories that pass or fail. For this application, I've normalized all the values to 1 for each of the categories. After the test taker receives their evaluation, they will see comments. These comments are based on the category. Regardless of the number of subcategories that pass or fail, if there are any failing subcategories, one message only will be sent for each of the categories. This functional test matrix covers all of the requirements in the specifications document. The functional test matrix is developed when the specification and the exam itself are developed. It is a very useful tool, and it relies on the demonstrated functionality of an application in order to award points for the functionality portion of the CLD exam. Grading for the functionality is based on the objective evaluation of the CLD exam. Between different graders for the same exam, the results are solid. Similarly, for the candidates, the requirements are the same. The application must meet specification requirements. There is no subjective evaluation of the functionality of the exam. Verifying results and troubleshooting are some of the skills evaluated in the CLD exam. A lot of time is spent coding, but time must be allocated to verify the behavior of the application. Documentation is an important part of the exam. However, it is not part of the functional evaluation. Do not spend time documenting what could happen or might happen or what was intended to happen. Spend that time troubleshooting the results of an application. It is possible that a small bug can be fixed, giving more points for the demonstrated functionality portion of the exam. Taking into account all that we've discussed about demonstrated functionality, here are some suggested strategies. Start with a functioning main application. Once you've chosen the architecture that you'd like to use, get that up and running. Make sure that it starts and stops. Then move on to file input and output, and possibly timing modules. Make sure that those are working. Then start building in the functionality of the model itself. Many times the model builds on itself, so it is critical to get the initial functionality down. Most importantly, know your style and take into consideration all that we've discussed about demonstrated functionality when you approach this exam. Thank you for taking the time to review how the functionality is evaluated for a CLD exam. I hope it has given you some insight and clarity into this portion of the exam. Be sure to use our online resources such as the sample exams and the certification forum at ni.com. And as always, if you need to get a hold of us, send an email to certification@ni.com. Thank you very much. Have a good day.